Back to order. Thank you, everybody, for waiting for us. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and have the city attorney report out on closed session, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On closed session for the anticipated litigation, council heard two matters. The first matter was off of Mount Shasta. Council voted 5-0 to allow code enforcement action. On the second matter off of Crestview, council gave 90 days for the property owners to continue to obtain compliance, and also authorized code enforcement if there has been unsatisfactory compliance at the end of 90 days in the opinion of the Community Development Director. Council received a briefing on the JD Ranch property, but no reportable action was taken, and council did not reach or discuss the Silver Lakes matter or the third anticipated litigation matter. Those are both continued to the end of the council meeting.
All right, very good. Thank you, sir. So, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we're going to have our invocation with Chaplain Ball, and then that will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance with Councilmember Sullivan. So if you will all rise, please.
Good evening, everyone. Let us pray. Almighty and ever-living God, we humbly pray for your wisdom and guidance as we begin our city council meeting here today. Grant our mayor and our city council members with wisdom and understanding to make righteous decisions for the well-being of our community. Bless them, their staff, and the office they serve faithfully. We pray for our first responders here in our city and across this great nation. Protect them and keep them safe as they serve our community and our country. We pray for all those gathered here tonight. May the peace of God be upon them and their families. God bless our city of Norco, and may it always be a beacon of light upon the hill. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
All right, we have a few presentations this evening. So at this time, I will be calling on our Deputy City Manager for those presentations.
Thank you, Mayor. So tonight we have President Jason Miller that will come up and present on Horse Week. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, staff, thank you for this opportunity. It's truly humbling and a blessing to come before you as the president of Horse Week, supporting over 100 members of our organization right now. All volunteer organization that works their tail off to provide back to the city. That's our goal, and what you're going to see tonight is something that's never been seen before, but the ultimate goal is to give back to the city. 10 days of fun. We take a lot of vacation time, spend money out of our own pocket to make it happen, but those 10 days are worth it, and you'll see as an example tonight. So just a little bit about myself. First year of being president, but no stranger to Horse Week. Been involved since 2013, and it's been the greatest adventure I've ever been on. I met my wife through the organization. She's not here tonight, I'm sorry about that. She's watching our boy, who now we get to raise through this organization. I've made numerous friends, best friends that I can tell you, and it's been a fun ride thus far, and especially in the first year, getting to do what we're gonna do tonight is truly amazing. So that being said, Madam Mayor, if you're okay with it, I'd like to invite the queens up here with the checks and any Horse Week members that'd like to come up in front here so we can present our large donations for the year. So folks, if you want to come up, and I believe Darlene's going to get some photos. Yeah, go up there. And we're going to go in a specific order here because for years, obviously our mantra is the tradition continues, right? And this is part of the tradition to come before you. Day one of taking over Horse Week and being elected as the president, we recommitted our organization to 3 pillars. Those pillars were communication, transparency, and community. Obviously, in professional, personal lives, Communication is the key to success no matter what you're doing. If you have a breakdown in communication, I truly believe you're not going to be successful. We recommitted to that. Second was the transparency. As a nonprofit organization, we come before the committee each year to provide what we've done, where we're at, because without the city staff working hand in hand with them, our generous sponsors, and all these volunteers, none of this tonight would be possible. So the transparency aspect is we're coming before you to show you the work of our labor. 10 days of hard work, sacrifice to give back to this community, because that's what we truly believe in, we stand on. Lastly, the community aspect. Horse Week is driven on giving back to the seniors, the animals, and the children. Because without the children, that last aspect, the tradition does not continue. So we truly, truly believe in that. And you're going to see that tonight. And one of my predecessors is here tonight, Tony Barreto, 12 years as Horse Week president. What you're about to see, he said he never dreamed that was going to happen with this amount. So first off, our Norco Animal Control, we'd like to make a donation to Norco Animal Control. Thank you, sir. Yep, come on up here. And the amount that we're donating is $20,000 to the Norco Animal Control. You guys want to come up? Take a picture?
Show some love. Move in. Okay. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. One more. Okay.
Tony has him. He's holding on to him tight. Congratulations, brother. Thank you for all the support. Appreciate it. Our next large donation that the group approved and voted on is the Norco Senior Center in the amount of $20,000.
One more.
And tying it all together, with the theme of seniors, pets, and all that, now the Norco Seniors and Pets. Again, a $20,000 donation to that group. So Diane.
Diane, I'm trying to open it, so just hold on to it, and then I'll take it after. Open for me. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. One more. Okay. Wait, Diane wants one with her phone. Oh, it never works when you want it. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jason.
You're very welcome. And last but not least, like we said, without the kids, the young people in town, the tradition will not continue. So the largest donation of our group that was voted on and approved, $25,000 to Norco FFA.
One, two, three. Whoop, one more. There we go.
So that wraps it up on the Horse Week front. Thank you for allowing us the opportunity, the time to take to do this. We feel it's very important, and without this, the tradition doesn't continue. So thank you all very much.
Does any council member have any comments or anything that they'd like? Kevin, you want to go ahead?
Well, Tony, you trained him well, didn't you? Holy cow. I mean, thank you so much. And then also I have to add, the memorial that's being built over at Norco High School, there's a collaborative between you guys, Norco Horsemen, and that will begin construction in 2 weeks. So, thank you.
Greg, anything?
Yeah, I look out there and I see everybody that helps during it, and we have a lot of fun doing it. And Tony, Jason, and we've had a lot of discussions. But we've had great leadership with the Horsemen's Association. Every function is just, people can't believe what you guys do. And I say you guys, it starts with the top, and then the people down below just love working for you guys. And it's phenomenal how many people show up. I mean, the first year that bingo showed up, it was just like, oh my gosh. You know, and thank you, Robin, for pushing all the rest of the city council and getting the barn so we could fill it. But every member that does Horse Week is just phenomenal. I can't wait for it to get there so I could go help and meet all the people, and especially to give Jason a hard time. So that's all I got.
Yes, I just want to say thank you to all the volunteers. 10 days, that is I can't even really wrap my head around how much work that actually is for everybody. And thank you so much. It is truly what makes our town so unique is all the volunteers, and the whole community comes out and enjoys it. And thank you so much.
Jason, Tony trained you well, and Tony couldn't have done his job without Sunday. You could not have done yours without Brittany. Obviously want to thank all the volunteers, but everything with Horse Week supports Norco's core values, and that's so important to all of us. So thank you for your generosity. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so I'll just echo what everybody up here has said. The amount of money, not just today, but this year, that's been given out to various organizations across our community, it's a game changer for a lot of the organizations that are getting those funds. It means they can operate. It means they can move forward with their mission and the things that they're trying to do as well. And then if you just look at the amount of money that the Horse Week volunteers have invested in this community over time, it's really a staggering number. And so for all of you that put in the time and the effort and take vacation days from work and have your subcommittee meetings and go to the meetings and do all the things, and I think sometimes in the midst of it, we can go, oh my gosh. But when we get to do things like this, it makes it all worth it. And to speak to what Greg talked about, when I talk about Norco, Horse Week is one of those things that it is uniquely Norco, and something that I know I'm very proud of the work that's done. And so again, thank you guys. Because what was the total dollar amount across the community, Jason?
We were able to double it from last year, about $200,000.
So that was the total donated by the committee this year, $200,000. So again, thank you so much for everything that you guys have done. And kudos to the volunteers for Horse Week, that is 10 days. So we appreciate you guys. All right, Amanda, we have another presentation today.
Yes, we have Miss Izzy Henriksen from the Norco Fair, and she's going to talk about Read to Ride.
Hello, City Council. I know a lot of you guys know me. I'm here to speak on Read to Ride for the third year, which is crazy to say and think of that in 24. I came to Norco Fair, joined the committee, and presented this, and I have some exciting updates for you guys on this program. So what we're doing differently is my first year, it was kind of me running around trying to get everybody their prizes. It was kind of a last minute thing. For the past 2 years, our junior fair committee members are the ones that kind of run that program throughout the year. The kids have taken quite a bit of interest in running this program and continuing it. So right now we have about 10 kids. We actually just had a meeting on Monday with actually 5 new members added. So that's exciting. They did start, just to give them a little shout out, if you want to follow them on Instagram, they'll be posting some fun stuff on there. You've probably seen them at movies in the park, concerts in the park. They've been handing out a whole bunch of flyers for the Norco Fair, but they're the ones that when you meet at their booth, they hand out all the prizes for Read to Ride. They've been doing a scavenger hunt, and they've just kind of been helping run all the kid portions of the Norco Fair. So Mr. President, John Grummeyer, my first year, said if you have any new ideas, bring them up. So reading levels across the board since 2020, we all know, drastically lowered for a lot of kids. I mean, elementary, high school, there was elementary kids coming to middle school at a first grade reading level or second grade reading level. So where we started was I got in contact with the Norco Library, bless you. With the Norco Library, we partnered. They have a Beanstack program that they also run their own little programs off of. My first year, I was luckily sponsored by Woody's Shaved Ice by Tom, where the kids also, on top of their ride tickets, also got a free shaved ice based on how many summaries they do. That first year, we had about 30 participants. My second year, we had about 72, and about almost half of them completed the full 8 summaries. So we're seeing that jump. This year, what's exciting is I have a few new partners. And Enrique did help me last year with Corn in the Cup of donating that. So this year, Norco Fair, Norco Library, City of Norco, because you guys did let me do water bill flyers, which really helped, thank you. Woody Shaved Ice, Red's Baked Potatoes, Texas Roadhouse, who does want to join and do future partnerships and fundraisers for us, and Canes as well. So the program just started July 1st. Right now, I just got an update as of Monday. We already have 69 participants, and we're not even halfway through the program. So that's very exciting. And then, so like I was talking about, the reason, I've noticed that a lot of families love doing this program. We do see a lot of repeat kids. You'll see a little bit of facts on here. That during the year 2020, over 584 million children faced reading difficulties versus 460 million reported previous to 2020. So it did do a drastic jump. In 2026, it looks like we're doing a little bit better, but reading scores still have plummeted during the pandemic and remain stagnant for many of our age groups. So it's more so what can we do in our community, and I'm hoping that with the school district, they're seeing kind of a difference. Are these kids enjoying reading and kind of bringing that back? First and second graders continue to perform below pre-pandemic baselines. Our community, multiple studies, just, a lot of kids say reading doesn't help, school doesn't help, but I promise you, lower literacy rates does equal higher unemployment or incarceration rates. So for our community, it's about keeping those kids outside or reading, doing something good with their time, and hopefully getting them on junior fair or any of the committees that we have here in town and continuing the traditions that we love here in Norco. Updates, so we did do a Texas Roadhouse fundraiser on Father's Day where we were able to fundraise a little bit of money for Read to Ride. Hopefully next year we'll be doing some sponsorships for Read to Ride to cover our costs. We're gonna start planning some days with Norco Library as well as Eastvale Library to do read days. So the junior fair kids will actually be reading books to the children in our community and getting them signed up on the spot. And then we did do water bill mailers that really helped of getting that out to our community and letting them know that this is a program that they can do over the summer. prizes. So this year they're doing ride tickets, goodie bags, shaved ice, corn in a cup. A lot of the kids like it. I always tell parents it's a great way to save money because you have your kid covered. Corn in a cup as a meal, you have their dessert covered, they get a little goodie bag and ride tickets. So it's kind of a symbiotic relationship with Norco Fair as well, of getting those parents to come to the fair while the kids also are doing something good, getting their reading levels up, and learning as they're doing this program. It ends August 28th, so for those of you that have kids, get them reading. Future endeavors, we are hoping to get into a CNUSD school board meeting soon. Tom's been helping me speak to PTA parents about getting that out there. A lot of the elementary schools are very excited and want to blast this, and we're hoping for more participants, of course, but our goal right now is 1,000 participants, just to see if we can hit that. And then that's it. Thank you, thank you.
I just want to recognize Izzy because we have our fair committee, and I try to push people, let's find new things, let's find new ways. And Izzy came up with this idea, and this has been all her. She's done it all. She's the one that has brought these kids in. All the fair does is give money to get the ride tickets, but I really want to recognize Izzy and understand the hard work that she has done to make this program. So thank you, Izzy.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Izzy, and hopefully you get a bunch more kids signed up for the reading. Good job.
Izzy's been amazing for years, so John, we know all about her.
All right. So thank you to everybody that came for the presentations and supporting your organizations. It's a good thing to see. We're going to go ahead and move into item number 1, which is our city council reports on regional boards, and we are going to go ahead and start with Councilmember Bash.
We were doing our staff conference with myself and the staff for Cal City Small and Rural Cities. Andy Okoro was going to be our guest speaker, but the executive board changed the topic, and Andy doesn't feel comfortable doing that, so I'm trying to get the topic changed back. But I just got thrown that curve at that meeting and then yesterday, so I'm trying to figure that out. At the Cal City's Western Riverside Executive Board meeting, there's about 10 of us that are in charge of the entire Western District. They want to change the meetings that we have together, every 2 months or whatever it is, and they want it to be in a central location because the folks out in the desert are tired of driving in, and they want to put it in Morongo. And I suggested that, well, you may not get a bunch of people from this side of from the area if that's the case. For us, that's an hour-and-a-half drive. So I don't know, how do I do this, Colin? Can I take a straw poll to find out what I should tell them, if we support it or not support it?
It's not really an action of the council. It's more you as the representative. So if you want to just ask your council.
Do you want me to go back and say, no, we want to do it the way we've done it traditionally, where you go to different cities and occasionally you have to drive out to the desert? Or do you want this central location whereby every meeting will be out near Morongo?
I would recommend that it goes back to the different cities because it also helps all the individual cities, as if you recall a few years ago when we had it at, or they had the meeting at the Hidden Valley Golf Course and opened the eyes up to a lot of our regional partners.
And some of the people, they want to do the Disney Ranch again.
Yeah.
And I'd love for them to see the FFA garden and things like that. Is that what you want me to take back to the committee?
Yes. Yeah. I don't want to drive to Morongo.
Well, we do. I mean, once a year, we've all gone out, the middle of nowhere. Blythe was a long haul for me. It was 2.5 hours, but we did it, so. Okay, and then I went to the Norco Area Chamber of Commerce breakfast, and once again, I was really proud of our staff. Colby was the guest speaker. I thought he was fantastic. I was really proud. I hope Lisette was there, and I was just really, really pleased with how you presented everything. And people actually got excited about Norco. They were like, whoa, that's happening, and this is happening. And I just felt competence. It just felt good that there was competence. So I really appreciated that. I want to thank you. I was really proud of our staff, and I want to thank you for that. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you very much. Councilmember Sullivan.
Nothing to report at this time.
Thank you. Councilmember Newton.
No regional board meetings, but Mayor, I'd like to know that, or have you know that represented you at the 4th of July patriotic judging, and hopefully I didn't embarrass you, but
Gotten no complaints.
But I did want to add that Councilmember Bash and myself, as typical council people, we couldn't make a decision, so they had awards for first, second, and third, but there was 3 youth riders that were dressed as Olympian riders, so we added additional prizes for them.
I am not surprised. I think I made a comment about that before I left when you were designated to judge.
Yeah.
Thank you for filling in for me, sir.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Robin.
it. Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, no meetings I went to, but I did have a meeting with Natasha Johnson's staff about homeless, and I'm working with them, and Karen Roper is something that I just took upon myself to contact them and work with them. And when I get a little bit more, I'm going to bring it back to the council and let everybody know. But it's going to be something that helps homeless and people that come out of the jails and the prisons, so they don't feel like they're jumping into quicksand. And it's something that I think is really going to work out. And once I get it together with them, I'll bring it back. Thank you.
All right, and then I also have no report for today. So with that, we're going to go to item number 2, and it's a little bit different. So Madam Clerk, I will let you read through the information, please.
This is the time when persons wishing to address the City Council regarding the consent calendar or other items within the subject matter jurisdiction of the legislative body, but not separately agendized, may be heard. Public participation is available in person or through the city's two-way telephonic service in accordance with SB 707. In-person speakers should submit a speaker card to the meeting clerk. Remote speakers may join using the Zoom access information provided on this agenda. Remote participants may raise their hand by pressing *9, and when recognized by the city clerk, using the last 4 digits of their phone number, will be unmuted to provide comments. At the conclusion of the allotted speaking time, unmute permissions will be removed. All comments are limited to 3 minutes or less under the Ralph M. Brown Act. The City Council cannot discuss or take action on comments regarding non-agendized items.
All right, thank you, Madam Clerk. So with that, we are going to start with our in-person speaker cards, please.
I have 1 speaker card for this item here, and that is Ms. Bonnie Slager.
No, I spent it all. 2 things. First of all, I would like to thank all of you for supporting us for the 4th of July ride. And thank you, Greg and Kevin, for digging into your pockets. Those little girls were very, very happy. I was really taken with how proud everybody was of Norco and United States, and all of the smiles that day, and everybody seemed to be having a good time. And so I was really pleased with the turnout and the happiness that was portrayed by this event. So I'm already having people ask us if we're going to do it again next year, so we'll see. Then moving on, it's fare button time. And again, fare buttons are only $15 if you buy them ahead of time, $20 at the gate. So I have fare buttons with me. You have fare buttons for sale here in the city clerk's office, I believe, and at about 25 places around town. So be sure you get your fare buttons. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so at this time, I'm going to ask, are there any online participants that would like to address the council?
Madam Mayor, we have no online participants.
All right, very good. Then we are going to go ahead and move on to item number 3, please, which is our consent calendar. Are there any items that anyone would like to have pulled from consent? Councilmember Bash,
Motion to approve?
there a second? Okay, Mayor Pro Tem Bowen, go ahead and call for the vote.
I'll take a roll call vote. Councilmember Newton,
Yes.
Councilmember Sullivan,
Yes.
Councilmember Bash,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bowen, Mayor Grummeyer.
Yes. All right, so with that passing, that's going to take us down to item number 6. We have a public hearing this evening on establishing posted speed limits on certain streets. So I'm going to go ahead and call on our Public Works Director, Nelson, to give us our presentation, please.
Thank you, Mayor. This is item 6A, ordinance establishing posted speed limits on certain streets in the city of Norco, amending chapters 10-12-010 and 10-12-03 for the Norco Municipal Code. I do have the city engineer as well as the consultant who prepared the speed survey here in attendance to further presentation.
Good evening. As required by state law, a speed survey update was prepared by Miniger and Associates of the city's primary roadway network for the purpose of establishing intermediate speed limits on the streets. These periodic updates are required every 5 years, 7 years, or 14 years, depending on criteria. And this is required in order for the Sheriff's Department to enforce speed limits utilizing radar. The process involves reviewing existing posted speed limits, collisions, and conducting field surveys of prevailing speeds. As an additional part of the analysis, the consultant was tasked to review every roadway segment in the city to potentially be classified as a residential district. A roadway can be classified as a residential district if there are a specific number of residences on one side of the street or both sides of the street within a quarter-mile distance. I'm happy to report that the speed survey update will now classify 17 roadway segments as residential districts, and they will now have a prima facie speed limit of 25 miles per hour. The reductions in the posted speed limit for segments of California Avenue and Corridon Avenue shown in the report are direct result of this analysis and this determination. After the agenda was posted, the mayor identified an error in the speed survey update. The segment of Hamner Avenue from the northerly city limits to 6th Street was identified as 45 miles per hour in the speed survey, when in all actuality it's 50 miles per hour. The recommendation in the update is still 45 miles per hour for that segment. And I might point out that it matches the 45 mile per hour in the city of Eastvale. So we actually have one other additional segment that we can count as a reduction as part of this. I guess there was another minor typo in the report as well, just in the agenda report, not the ordinance, that for Norconian, the limits were listed as 5th Street to Thoroughbred, when actually it's 5th Street to Norco. So apologize for that. With that, I will pass on to the discussion of the consultant. I believe he has a PowerPoint presentation for you. And after his presentation, both him and myself are available for questions.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Madam Mayor, honorable council members. My name is Fred Minigar, principal of Minigar and Associates, Inc. It's a pleasure for me to be before you to go over what we have done since June of last year. For the 2025 citywide engineering and traffic survey of all the designated streets within the city of Norco as a municipal corporation in the state of California. As you know, this is the first reading on the proposed ordinance for the city council to review and to comment upon. And upon the receipt of all the comments from you and the public, then we are going to incorporate all the comments as legally appropriate. Of course, as you know, you as elected body from the city, you have discretion to make any changes as you wish. However, it's going to be under the legal clauses that once it's been established, then if it's not in sync, in concert with the recommendation that we are presenting to you, myself and the city engineer, then the city would be at potential risk of any of those changes if there is a potential litigation against the city. Myself, I have served 2 terms as the mayor of my home city, on and on and on and on, and we serve 87 cities in the state of California. So with all that said, within the context of what can be done and what cannot be done, it's my pleasure that when I work with the city staff director of public works and the city engineer, I did not face any of those issues that we would be in disagreement with. So what you see, what has been presented to you as a legal document for all the 78 segments within the city are all legally defensible in any court of law. Now, just in a nutshell, I don't want to go over the nuts and bolts, but every city in the state of California, along with all other cities in the U.S., in California we have 484 cities within 58 counties. All of the cities are obligated to do the survey, engineering and traffic survey, that some people call it, speed limit survey. The survey that we presented to you and is a part of your package is in full compliance and conformance of California MUTCD, Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices, the latest edition, as well as the federal MUTCD. So the way we do all these projects, doesn't matter which municipality, the process, the protocol is the same. State and federal are the same. We collected ADT's average daily traffic at all the 78 segments. The law mandates that we have to collect the data, average daily traffic, on a typical weekday between a Tuesday to Thursday, not to be near a federal or state holiday. And at the same time, when we put the machine tubes along those 78 segments, we made sure that during the same day, we also we perform laser or radar gun surveys for the very same street segments. And the law mandates that we have to collect it in a fashion that the person that is collecting the data is inconspicuous, that nobody can recognize that person and nobody can tell that person is, doing the survey, nor a police officer or sheriff deputy to be present in the vicinity of the operator collecting that data. Otherwise, it becomes illegal. Over my 43 years of doing these projects between New York and Hawaii, I've had some beach communities in Orange County and in LA County that we had officers showing up, and I had to talk to the judge that the data is not justifiable. So with that said, all the data, we are 100% confident from a legal, again, perspective is in perfect shape. Then we analyze all the street segments based upon the prevailing posted speed limits that we observed, we collected. Then we looked at the crash, accident, collision histories of all those segments. In California, we go by Sweater's database that they've changed the name now. It's called CCRS, effective January 1st, 2024. We collected all data via the Sheriff Department, Riverside County Sheriff, and also CHP office in Sacramento. And then we also, what we do is, on the top of everything else, we go to UC Berkeley and we look at the TIMS database. TIMS database provides us different perspective with regard to those specific segments that we are analyzing. We look at everything from a global perspective, but then we act local within each specific segment. So the collected data was between January 1st, 2022, all the way to December 31st, 2024. Then we looked at the assessment from a different perspective, analyzing, the street segment or the highway segment, for any kind of traffic and roadside conditions not readily apparent to drivers. As you know, the golden rule of thumb is we have to collect 100 vehicles traversing that specific segment within the hours that I mentioned. 9 in the morning, between 9 in the morning all the way to 3 in the afternoon on a typical weekday, at the same time that we had deployed, installed machine tubes for the collection of ADTs. During that time frame, we made sure that the way the data is collected, then there was no special cases such as construction, detour, or any kind of traffic, collision activities, or any police officer in any shape or form to be within that area that we were collecting the data, because we wanted to make sure that the data is pure. It represents the speed of 85 vehicles out of 100 vehicles surveyed, and then that was the establishment of 85th percentile. That's the law of 85th percentile. So it's not like by any person scratching his head to come up with any speed for that, roadway segment. Oh, I think this is a good parkway. Is the pavement conditions perfect and people can drive as they wish? No, we wanted to make sure that all those elements outside of the numbers were also observed and analyzed. The last time the city of Norco did its corresponding engineering traffic survey was back in February 2020, and then your previous city council approved it back in April 2020. Now, in a nutshell, the findings: 68 out of 78 surveyed street segments are being recommended to remain at their existing legally established posted speed limits. 4 out of those 78 surveyed street segments are being recommended to be decreased from their existing posted speed limits. As you can see, I don't want to bore you by going through specific segments. 4 of them are the ones that you see on this slide to be decreased from 35 miles per hour to 30, or from 35 to 25, depending upon the existing conditions of the roadway, depending upon the 85th percentile, depending upon the new law. The new law actually was in 2021 that I had the honor of being with the Assemblywoman, that now she's a Congresswoman. She's the former mayor of city of Burbank, that we drafted the law, Assembly Bill 43 in California. So we took advantage of Assembly Bill 43, which is the speed limit law in the state of California, that we took all the good, good information, good legal information to be able to reduce as much as legally we could possibly do for your city. So I'm sure that your city, like any other cities in California, safety is job number one. We want to make sure that all the citizens, when they would be traversing from point A to point B, not only they traverse in a fashion that the posted speed limits are legal, they're not political. I've had some clients, I've had some cities that they have overruled the recommendations, and my recommendation to them is fine. As long as the majority of the city council members would like to change the presented posted speed limits, they can. But legally, the court that has authority, jurisdiction over that is not going to be, is going to be on my side. So with that said, these are the 4 segments. And Madam Mayor, I do believe I received a copy of your email through the Public Works Director. Your points are well taken. For that specific segment, as the city engineer mentioned, that from analysis perspective, everything is correct because we came up with the 85th percentile, which was 45 miles per hour. However, the posted speed limit north of 6th Street was at, or is at 50. So that one is going to be changed to 45, and the corresponding posted speed limit sign has to be replaced upon the second reading of the city council. So that may make this list as 5 segments in the city to be decreased, And then 2 out of 78 segments had no posted speed limits. The one that you see, 24B, it was a part of a bigger segment that when we discussed that with the city, with the Director of Public Works and City Engineer, we decided by cutting it, then we would be looking at it with a magnifying glass. So we were able to establish a 25 miles per hour for segment 24B, which is First Street between Mountain Avenue to Hamner Avenue. So there's going to be a new posted speed limit sign after the City Council, consequent to the second public reading, is going to establish. And then the last one is segment number 48 that had no speed limits at all, that we measured that and we came up with a posted speed limit of 35 per hour for that. And the final 4 segments out of 78 are the ones that you see. These are, unfortunately, we had to increase them because, as I mentioned, when it comes down to the speed limits, it doesn't matter which city, if I'm in Beverly Hills or Manhattan Beach, or I go all over. It doesn't matter. We go by the book, we go by the numbers, we go by the data, collision reports, and everything else. We had to increase them because of 85th percentile law, because of the laws in the state of California and federal. So, but the first one from 25 is going to go to 30, only 5 miles per hour. The second one, as you can see, for 2nd Street, Hamner Ave to Corona Avenue from 25 to 30. The third one is from 3rd Street between Valley View and Hamner from 30 to 35. And the last one is Valley Drive, Country Club Drive to Frisian Street, I guess, from 35 to 40. So we have plotted all those proposed posted speed limits on a map. Again, since this is the first reading of the City Council and the public to provide input, we are going to make some cosmetic changes to this based upon Madam Mayor's email, and there were 2 other segments that the city engineer discussed. So we are going to be presenting that in writing via full report signed and sealed by me to be presented to you during the next scheduled meeting. So with that said, I'll be more than happy to answer any questions from you or from the public regarding the speed limits.
All right, thank you very much, sir, for your presentation. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to ask for clarification from the city attorney. So we're going to have council questions to our presenter, public comments, and then he mentioned he would answer public questions as well. So if there are questions, when people come up, can we just take those right after public comment and he can come back and address those to the public?
Yes.
Okay, perfect, thank you. So don't go away because you get to answer
Oh,
from up here first.
Absolutely.
And then we'll go to public comment after these. So, Councilmember Newton.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
I'm curious on the proposed change to increase
Yes.
speed limits. But first, I wanted to do Norconian Drive that had no existing speed limit, and then we're going to 35 miles an hour.
Why it is going to be 35?
Well, why was it why was existing no speed limit?
It happens a lot in a lot of cities that we do similar projects. A lot of cities don't have for every specific segment from one signalized intersection to the next one to have a posted speed limit. It happens a lot. So we always use the previous voted upon speed limits, the report. We take that and then we resurvey the very exact street segments. We always do that, not for you, for all the cities. That's That's the
Sure.
normal protocol. So it was never surveyed, so that's why we don't have it.
Yeah, if I can also add.
Yeah.
I reviewed the 2020 speed survey, and there was no posted speed limit that was recommended as part of that approval back then. I don't know why,
So-
but it was omitted. It was
Yeah.
it was in the speed survey, but there was no posted speed limit
okay.
that was approved. So,
Pretty hard to enforce.
yes.
So, Dan,
Yes.
I want to stay up there. So, with all these increases from Norconian, Rock Springs, 2nd Street, 3rd Street, and Valley Drive, Section 22353, that, since this is, how is that reflected in these increases, being that we're an animal-keeping community, and that section allows us to reduce speed limits due to equestrian ridership. And these streets that you're showing increasing, all have horse trails on them. So the question is specific to 22353.
Yeah, that's you're referring to the Norco's own vehicle code provision in there for equestrian trail usage that you're allowed the 5 miles per hour. The way that provision is written is it's a factor in the analysis. Once you take the 85th percentile speed, we look, as Fred mentioned, looks at all the characteristics of that roadway, whether there's schools nearby, a lot of driveways, retail centers, horse trails is per that provision, and that allows you to reduce it another 5 miles per hour total. It's not 5 miles per hour for driveways and curvilinear and schools plus the Norco provision. It's one of those that it's included in that 5 mile per hour analysis. So that's why those are the speeds they are. It's we can't go another 5 in addition to the 5 we've already reduced it. We've reduced it as much as we can from the 85th percentile.
Okay, so I'm fine with the reductions. It's the increases that I'm not supporting. And specifically to those streets that I listed, they all have equestrian trails on them.
And as I've said, Fred did take a 5 mile per hour deduction on those roadways already. So we're at our limit. If you want to go another 5 miles per hour, as Fred mentioned, it would not adhere to the vehicle code, and so it would be subject to a challenge from motorists that are cited. And the potential is that the judge could review the speed survey and look at that segment and look at it and say, well, you're not following the vehicle code, and they can either require the city to go and redo the speed survey for that segment, or throw out the entire speed survey and make you redo it again. So it's
Just can't leave it as existing.
Yeah, you can't, unfortunately.
And-
We're locked into that 85th percentile speed initially, and we try and reduce it as much as we can after that.
And then it all comes down to council's choice on that.
Exactly.
And that's where we roll the dice. And then just a small question on fiscal impact. We have 20 signs that we're going to replace.
I think we did an initial,
That's the exact
assessment.
count.
Yeah,
So we don't have an exact count.
no.
So we don't have an exact cost. Okay.
We could provide that by the next meeting.
Okay.
Because I know on Hamner, at least that's the segment we talked about that's going to 45, there are
Right.
pavement markings as well. Those
Sure.
have to be changed, so we did not account for that.
It would be beneficial to know the exact fiscal impact.
Okay, we can
Okay.
certainly do that.
That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you. At this time.
Councilmember Sullivan?
Yes, I just had a question. So when you're compiling your data and you are strictly just looking at vehicles, correct?
That is correct.
So you don't count how many horses are being ridden
No,
by?
no.
Especially on Rock Springs, there's a small community arena there. There's a little playground. That is a very heavily ridden area.
No, we don't. We consider them after we collect all the data. The way we collect the data is very specific. We only look at the motoring public, whoever would be traversing that specific segment of the roadway, regardless of how many people are walking on the sidewalk, how many horses might have been, moving around. No, because the law specifically mandates that we have to just collect the information for the vehicles. But when we analyze it, at the end of the report, for every segment, we have specific sheet that describes traffic conditions, traffic crash, history of the same segment, socioeconomic, zoning type, and all those are considered. And as it was mentioned, when we have special cases based on Assembly Bill 43 and any other special conditions, then it's called engineering judgment that I, as the person who has to sign all these documents, would consider. But as it was mentioned, we start off with 85th percentile number as a given fact, and then based on that, then we decide how much we can go down, and based upon all those extra elements that would provide us support to lower it more. So it's pretty much standard. It's not just for Norco, it's for all the cities, and as you know, every city socioeconomically, demographically is different.
Sure, but we are completely unique.
Yes.
Because of our horse trails. And I can tell you that portion of Rock Springs, I used to live over there. It is a cut through to get through Corona. It's heavily trafficked, and there's a lot of people that ride their horses there, and lots of kids going to the little park area. So I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around how human beings and their horses are not taken into consideration for this, and it's just about cars.
Madam
Because
Council
that's not
Member,
really a question
your
for
points
Riverside.
are extremely well taken. I empathize with you. I clearly understand the setting, but you as a council, you have the power for those segments that you don't agree with the procedure, the protocol, or the way it's done, to lower it by maybe 5 miles more. But again, the challenge is going to be, and over my years in this line of business, I've gone to courts a lot on a positive side. And 100% of the time, the judge, or in a legal case, we could not, they were on our side of the recommendation. So I know it's a unique place. I truly understand that, and I have a great feeling for that, like my home city too. I know, but it's, if you decide, majority of council members, for some segments to keep it as is, by not increasing it, for example, you can, but the court that has jurisdiction over the city of Norco, 99.99% is not going to accept it. So if someone who's driving in your city from outside would get involved in a traffic collision, and I've had so many legal cases myself that I presented to public agencies, different courts, then your city, I'm sorry to say that, you're not going to be in a good position there, because you're going to lose that case, because the judge is going to say that not acceptable, because you lowered it way below what was presented to you based on a formal survey that was done by a registered engineer in the state of California, on and on and on. I've never seen any cases that they would agree with a city council recommendation, majority council member recommendation to lower. I understand safety, job number, I get it, I understand that. But it's gonna be if you accept the risk, you as a city, you can. I mean, I've sat in your position for so many years. I understand that, but I don't recommend it. I don't recommend it. And then you might ask me, like the gentleman next to you mentioned, that how could we possibly, well, unless you lobby in Sacramento, unless you with your elected representatives, then you create amendment to the law. Yes, you can. I can say that I represent City of Needles, borderline of Arizona, and we went to Sacramento. We changed some laws only for the City of Needles. Only for the City of Needles. It's the law of the land only for the City of Needles. So you have that option. I'm trying to help. You have that option because of your special socioeconomic, uniqueness. You can do that. Only for the city, as long as in Sacramento, the state assembly and state senate would agree with it, then yes. And I strongly suggest that if your community, all the people in your city, that's why you're a city. That's why you were incorporated in 1964, to have control over your destiny, like my own city, that we didn't care about Sacramento. We don't want the state or the federal government to tell us what to do. We wanted to have our own in South Orange County. Very conservative city. I don't want to get too political. So we changed some of them. But if your city does not have that in Sacramento written for the city of Norco as a special community with those, then I strongly suggest not to move in that direction with regard to you deciding to lower any of those that we are proposing to you to vote upon for the increases.
For the explanation.
Mayor Pro Tem, any questions?
Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, when you did these surveys, do you have a timestamp on when you're getting them done?
Yes. Actually, if you look at in the appendices, it's a formal process that anytime a radar gun operator would be collecting the data, they show it on those sheets from what time to what time, where, what day, what was the
Correct.
weather condition, and all those, yes.
But to answer my question, what are the times that they're doing these streets? Because we have streets that are people are commuting through our residents.
Yes.
Our side streets, our main streets. Now, are they getting there at 5 o'clock in the morning?
No, law does not allow us to get there. Not only in your city, in any other cities.
But
in
I'm
America.
asking you, so that's a no. So you're not, do you have a timestamp?
Between 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Well, that doesn't
And
cover
then
the
it's
time.
stamped based upon the exact time that it was collected for that segment.
But your survey is not credible by just what you just said. Because the majority of our traffic is early mornings till 7 o'clock.
Yes.
So you're not getting a great survey.
No, because the law
So you're
forces
agreeing with
us.
me.
Well, unless they change the law.
It's the law, but I'm just saying.
I'm here to-
The
I
majority of our
represent the law.
our
I'm not-
traffic that goes through Norco.
You are correct, yes.
Now what,
Commuters, outsiders, yes.
now what's
yes.
the cutoff when it goes to, in the afternoon?
3 p.m. Before the peak of the rush hour traffic, no survey can be done in California. And
So
all
you're
other
not
places.
getting even a closely accurate survey of what our traffic is?
No, okay, let me clarify that. The ADT that we collect, average daily traffic, is for 24 hours.
Right?
24 hours, that we use
But
that
not
number.
in the morning or at night, so that's not 24 hours.
not for the radar guns, because we cannot. No one can collect the survey for the speed during off hours of 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. It has
Just
to,
for you?
no. Every city in California, the survey has to be done between 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on a typical weekday. Yes, you're going to cut off a lot of people. You're going to cut off the rush hour traffic. That's how the law is written.
Okay.
So it's not us, the way we collected it.
I'm not getting after, if that's the law, you have to follow it.
Yes.
But I'm just saying, your survey doesn't capture the true traffic at Norco.
For the commuter you're referring to.
Yeah, well, that's, anything that goes through our city is traffic.
Your
Whether
city
it's
is
commuting
like
traffic or not.
all other cities in California. That is correct.
Correct, yeah.
Yes.
All right. And my other question is, now, do you take in consideration stop signs? Do you, in your survey, do you recommend stop signs in certain areas? Is that something you deal with or no?
No. That's completely off the
Okay.
scope of work.
Then
No.
we don't have, then, now, jumping on speed humps. Now, do you make recommendations for speed humps?
That's a completely
Completely different.
different
But if they,
legal.
which we do have some, which are on Del Mar, and those are at 25 or 15?
Right, no. Very good question. No, we don't consider those because as it was mentioned, the survey that we did for your city was, we went back to the very same segments that 5 years ago, back in February 2020.
Right.
Was done. We went back to the same locations. We resurveyed between 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And no, we did not collect any data because we cannot. The law does not allow us to collect it. So no, we don't go to side streets. We don't go to residential areas to see if there is a speed hump or bump. There is a different posted speed sign with markings. No, we're not allowed to do that. We don't go there because a lot of them are under the prima facie category within residential zones, as you well know, that you don't need to survey that. You can use that specific low
So
speed.
if we did decide to go that route, not saying we're going to, but if we go to that route to get speed humps, then is there a set speed limit to go over them? Or is that something that you deal with or somebody else would have to deal with
Okay.
that?
No, I've written a lot of.
We have speed
ordinances.
humps. I'm asking that question because
No,
we actually do have it.
No.
What is that?
Okay. Every city, most of the cities in California have, it's gone through traffic commission or planning commission and then ultimately to the city council to ratify the recommended manual or protocol for the potential installation of a speed hump or speed bump. Every city, the numbers are different. In my own city, when I was chairman of the planning commission or mayor of the city, as a practitioner, I fine-tuned it and I came up with, okay, 90% of the residents within that specific area have to vote on it. They have to vote on that. They have to submit it to the city clerk. Based on that report, then the commission and then ultimately the city council would decide if they would concur with the installation of the speed bump
Yeah,
or
but
speed
you're
hump.
getting way off track. I'm asking you what the average speed is for a speed hump. Is it 15? Because or is it 25? I'm just asking. I'm not going to hold you. I'm not.
You
gonna
have, okay, you as a city, okay, let me answer your question. You as a city, it's under your discretion to post for that specific location. 15 or 20 or 25.
Well, what is, since we have one, what is your recommendation for that street on Del Mar?
Because I
No,
don't.
because what is the recommendation? Because you're doing an audit on our streets. What is that speed limit supposed to be with the speed humps that we have there?
For that segment, we have to analyze it based upon.
No, you already did. What is it?
That one falls under the prima facie, so it's going to be 25.
Prima facie.
25.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so the Del Mar was not part of the speed survey, because it's a prima facie speed, it's a residential street, automatically 25 miles per hour. So it's not part of the survey.
Okay.
We don't have to analyze it, we don't have to do radar counts, we don't have to do ADTs.
Right.
We're just establishing it at 25 miles per hour, because it's in that residential district zone.
And then, now, going to another question, so
Sure.
I apologize.
No, please, please.
And,
I enjoy this discussion.
I don't know this. This has had to be something that Greg, Robin, or the other, Greg. Kevin. Duh. May answer this, because the city did go to Sacramento to get an exclusion to be able to have our speed limits at 25. So, and I know that there was the 5 mile an hour that could go down, but that's something that you guys might be able to answer, because I remember that was one thing that when I sat out in the field out there in the chairs, listening to it, that was something that they went to Sacramento to get, and I don't know what it is. If it's an actual, we're allowed to do it, or if it's something it's only a 5 mile an hour reduce by what you were saying earlier. My understanding is that we got okayed to do it at 25 miles an hour, except for certain streets. And these certain streets, I don't know if they were in that, but they're 25, all needs to stay 25, and the 30 and the 35, they may not be included in that.
All the street segments that we are recommending for any kind of posted speed limit is based on the big umbrella law of the city of California, nothing specific that, any of your colleagues showed up in Sacramento to create no, we did not use any special laws on that. But I strongly, this is a very good discussion. You're a special city, you're a very unique city, If I were you, I would truly start moving in that direction.
Well, I think we already have. That's what I'm.
Well,
yeah.
but it has to be written in the laws that we retrieve from Sacramento.
All right.
That says for the city of Norco, for these, conditions or for these roadways, then you can reduce the posted speed limits or the 85th percentile by 5 or 7 miles per hour more. Then you're okay legally. We are okay with that, and the law enforcement can reinforce it. But without that, then we use the same lenses for every city, the same process, the same procedure.
We'll look into that.
Your assemblyman, and not congressperson, that is beyond their jurisdiction, but your assembly person is the key to move in that direction, not Washington. This is a California issue for your
Saying
city.
moving that, I think we've already been there, Collins.
There is
Sorry.
Vehicle Code 22353 that says when conducting an engineering and traffic survey, the city of Norco, in addition to the factors set forth in section 627, may also consider equestrian safety. My understanding was that was where the gentleman got the 5 mile an hour reduction.
We've already applied that, exactly.
You already applied that, but you're jumping up on where trails that have.
No, it's because of the prevailing 85th percentile. 85 vehicles out of 100 vehicles that were surveyed for the same segment had a higher 85th percentile during that day that we collected the data. And because of that, then we were able to reduce that by 5 more. So what you see is the final number that we already included that. And what I'm proposing to you is if you really want to have a more global for your city, then that section of California Vehicle Code has to be fine-tuned, and it only comes from Sacramento, not from your city hall, unfortunately. Because the speed laws are for everybody in California, not just for your city. Whoever that has a driver's license, as you well know,
Right.
yeah. So.
That's all I got.
Kevin, any questions?
Well, it's another example of Sacramento thinking one size fits all.
Exactly. I'm with you.
And I'm going to recommend that we do look into talking to Natasha regarding this. I think that's good. I do just have a couple of questions. I am concerned about Norconian. I couldn't vote on it, but we made a big mistake with that street. It's very windy, and we've now had 2 cars that have literally gone over the side into the playground. Was that taken in? Can you take that into consideration?
We've already taken into our analysis the curvature of the roadway, the slope, the grade, and all those extra.
And the other part of that is that the school failed to put in the proper safety measures, and they were essentially waived. You've had 2 cars go over the side of the cliff and literally end up in the middle of a playground. So I think maybe we ought to look at that a little bit. I also remember when it was posted 25 miles an hour. So I'm not sure what happened there. And I don't want to put you on the spot, but I am concerned about 2 cars going over the side because the school was required to put in certain safety measures and they were let off the hook. So I think we need to look at that street in particular. And it's not your fault.
No. May I add to that, if I may? Effective January 1st, 2026, Governor Newsom ratified 3 new speed laws that for those special areas, then it may be helpful.
Okay.
To look at that.
And then the only thing I just have 2 questions. 2020, why didn't we look at these before? How come we just didn't look at them? These streets, the ones that were raising the speed limits? This just didn't come up, or? I think you did it, didn't you?
No,
Oh.
another consultant did it. But though,
Can we get that
ev-
consultant?
every street was in this speed survey was in the 2020, with the exception of Norconian. And as I mentioned previously, I don't know why that one wasn't analyzed at that point.
It was closed during 2020.
It was what?
It was closed.
Right. Yeah, Norconian, I knew that, yeah. But the other ones that are sitting here, I'm not sure. I mean, I get you're following the law, but how come we didn't raise them in 2020? Or raise them in 2016, or raise them in 2012, or?
It all starts at that 85th percentile threshold.
Okay.
And that's redone, that's reanalyzed every time we do the speed survey. In 2020, Rock Springs and that, the 85th percentile was lower, so your starting point was lower. And we still had probably the 5 mile per hour reduction in there, but if you're starting lower, you can end up with a recommended posted speed limit of lower.
I understand.
So it's all stems from that, where this 85th percentile speed is measured this time around. And
Okay.
so-
And then my last question is, so if we decide not to raise the speed limit to 30 miles an hour and the person gets in an accident at 25 and they're at fault, we can get in trouble? How does that work, that we can get sued if we don't allow them to speed and they still get in an accident?
Unfortunately,
But how does that work? It's our fault because we weren't letting them go 30 miles an hour?
unfortunately, they go with yes. Unfortunate, yes. Yes, I agree with you. Doesn't make sense.
That's some goofy SHIT. I mean, that's.
You're correct.
Yeah, all right. Okay, well, that's all, so I think our solution is we need to talk to Natasha as soon as possible.
So
See.
I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead, please. Do you have the answer to that?
Yeah, for the liability issue, it's about design immunity. So design immunity says you look at 3 factors. Number 1, did the accident occur because of a design? Number 2, did somebody with the proper approval authority approve it? Number 3, was the approval reasonable? So some plaintiff's lawyer will say that if only the car had been going 5 miles an hour faster, it would have missed the other car, there would have been no accident, and it wasn't approved pursuant to an engineer's report.
Got it.
And therefore you lose your design immunity. I would argue against that and say no, the considerations was reasonable and there's a whole bunch of factors, but what the gentleman's saying, it makes sense on a design immunity analysis. One of the things we do is we want to say that it was a reasonable approval because it was approved by an engineer. I've seen cases go outside of engineer approval that get approved by a council, and you can still argue design immunity applies because of some discretion. And for a whole lot of complicated reasons, I agree generally with what he's saying. I think it's correct. It's not a 100%, but it does help to approve the design that's presented by the engineer for design immunity.
You know, we did actually have something happen, and part of the reason Norconian was closed was because when we did we evaluated every road in the city of Norco. It took 2 years. It was a horrible thing. And one of the roads that we evaluated was either Mountain or Western, and it was like one of the worst roads along with Norconian. And somebody, horrible accident, they were killed. And my understanding is they were texting, I don't know the full story, but we got in trouble because the road was so bad, and that's why we closed Norconian, because it was so terrible. And then we ended up paving it, and it's much better. So I guess it really can happen that, I don't know. All right, well, that's all I have. Thank you very much. It's messed up.
You're welcome.
Yep.
I don't have any questions at this time, so you're going to get a break. We're going to take some public comment, and then we'll see if you have to come back up. So, Madam Clerk, do we have cards on this topic?
Madam Mayor, I have 2 speaker cards. I have Mr. Mike Williams.
Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council, staff, residents. Mike Williams, and I am the current chair of the Streets, Trails, and Utilities Commission. First thing I do want to say is we've been asking for this for 6-8 months, and it has not come in front of us. So I'm a little bit peeved about that, especially on request. I want to address a couple of things. First off, Mr. Miniger's platform is excellent. He built an excellent platform to do this work, but it's only as good as the information that's input into it. And 260 pages on that staff report, something like that. I went through most of it in the last 2 days. Concerns that I have are inconsistencies between trails, streets. What's good on one street in the trail may not be mentioned on the next street and trail and so on. It wasn't consistent. One street I noticed, they were more concerned about a speed trap than they were the horse trail. Horse trail wasn't even mentioned. I couldn't believe that. I had to look up the code to see what it stood for. One of the questions, Pro Tem Bowen, that you asked was about special situation because of the equestrian community. All right, Colin, this is probably going to be for you, but it's Chapter 282, Assembly Bill Number 1669, and it's an act that added to Section 22353.5, and this was basically about Orange Park Acres. And all that was added because of them, and this was August of 2014. And in the paragraphs here, basically, the 85th percentile was considered outdated. AB 43 gives cities more flexibility to setting speed limits. Okay. Now, this is information that you might use if you decide to go back to Sacramento or something like that and find out what Orange Park Acres did that was legitimate, that worked for them. All right. I would ask you to send this to Streets and Trails. I really think it needs to come in front of us. I have problems, obviously, like everybody else does, about the speed limits being raised. And I'm not one of these slam dunk guys that believes that all the speed limits need to be lowered, but I do remember making a comment and a recommendation to Public Works before Sam came in, saying that you need to put signs at every one of the ingress egress in the city saying speed limit 25 miles an hour, equestrian community, unless otherwise cited or unless otherwise posted. And I made that recommendation 3-4 years ago. So, and yeah, Norconian Drive was closed. I was as surprised as everybody else was that that came back. My guess is when it was closed, that speed limit sign was borrowed. It's probably sitting on somebody's property somewhere. So that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Madam Mayor, we have 3 more speaker cards. Mr. Bill Naylor.
Evening, Council. You pretty well covered what I was going to bring up on the Norconian because it was closed at the time that they did that last survey in 2020, I think it was. They might want to think about if there's possibility going back to the survey prior to that if they need to. I don't know what the legality of all that is, but it just, since they did not seem to know it was closed, maybe there's something there that would help. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Jim Pollard.
Evening, Commissioners. So I have several questions to the, mainly on Park Ridge Avenue between First Street and Second Street. Was there any survey work done on that street between First Street and Second? It's all residential and it's posted 40 miles an hour. There's 2 schools in there and a church. And from Second Street, like I say, residential, and it's 40 miles an hour into a school crossing. And of course, that's 25 miles an hour if there's kids, I guess. But it seems like residential 40 miles an hour isn't appropriate for Park Ridge, in my opinion. Vine Street, that's a cut through from River Road to Cordon. There's been 2 people killed on that street, and maybe some street calming ideas are needed there. And of course, I don't think that we have mid-street horse crossings, and I think that the speed limits for mid-street horse crossings need to be better identified. I'm not talking about intersections. That's more standard as a common crossing. And then where playgrounds ever, we have many parks and playgrounds in the city. Was there special considerations for speed zones in those areas for the kids and parents? Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
The last speaker card is Mr. Michael, and I believe this, is it Mendel?
What's his last name? Weisenbach.
Good evening, council members. Thank you for the time. I've lived on Norco Drive, and I saw your study has been changed from River Road to 5th Street to lower the speed limit. I want to know why Norco Drive is not lowered. It is 35 miles an hour. Personally, at my house, my mailbox has been exploded. And when I mean exploded, it was a cinder block and exploded. Somebody coming off the corner between Shadow Canyon and Shadow Canyon on Norco Drive. It's a 5th mile. That is somebody's drag strip. I understand you don't do a survey between 9 and 3. I drive for a living. I work for the state. I do air conditioning, refrigeration repairs. I get up at different times of the day because when refrigeration goes down, I have to go. I've gone at 6 o'clock in the morning and people are speeding down there and they're not doing 35. 5th Street, they do not use that stop sign. That is a red, yellow, green to go to Shadow Canyon to run the quarter mile. And I'm sorry to say that, but that's the way it is. You get to River Ridge, that is where the church is. There's no 25 when, that is a church and a school. There's no 25 when, and go there Sunday. Go there at 5 o'clock. Corridon turns into Norco Drive, which becomes a cut through from the 91 to the 15. So I understand your schedule is 9 to 3, but I implore you to come there at 7 o'clock. I invite any one of you to come and I will cook you hamburgers and you can see these people. I have 50s trucks. Yeah, they look nice, but they're burning down my street. We have the horse trails. I have people in the evening, during the day, that ride the horses. I don't know why from 5th Street to Hamner Avenue, why that was not, on Norco Drive, why that was not lowered. You go from 25 from Corridon to, I believe it was Bluff, is your recommendation. From Bluff to 5th, you're going to 30. But then after that, you're 35. I've also, in the past, have expressed my displeasure with, on Norco Drive, we have emergency services. And this is why we cannot have the speed bumps there. This is why we cannot have lights there, because you have emergency services. Well, I'm sorry. If that emergency services has to drive 40 to a kid that just got killed or a horse that was hit, I think this needs to be addressed. 9 to 3 does not work because that is not normal to me. Most people will come home between 3 and 6. Most people take off from work from 5 to 8. I think the study needs to be redone to be more accurate to when this is being done. My wife works from the house. She can attest to the people that are speeding during the day. I just think this needs to be addressed and looked at. Thank you for your time.
The last speaker card is Matt Hilliard.
Hello, City Council. Obviously, you know, I live in the city of Norco. I live on 5th Street, across the street from Valley View, or Sierra Vista Elementary. And anyway, the only reason I came up here is some of you know I retired from LAPD. I used to moonlight as actually one of the traffic guys that would do the radar surveys. So I do understand. Oh, sorry about that. So I moonlighted outside of my LAPD job, being a cop, and I would do these speed surveys. So I'm very familiar, and I'm not with this one in particular, but I know it's frustrating because I would be sitting there at whatever time, and you're like, this isn't safe. And you're just stuck recording whatever those numbers are. And the only way to really work around that is to have cops posted up like 3 days before. Like, I mean, probably do some stuff that would probably be illegal. But otherwise, their hands are tied. So I think I would urge the city council to kind of figure out what you can do with the state to get special provisions, because otherwise it is hard, and they have to do it between those hours. And like I said, 5th Street, I mean, people are flying even when school's getting out. So just thought there. And working in the city of LA, we had big dips, we had speed bumps, and the police cars, we just fly over them. The fire trucks, I mean, those are $1 million trucks. They'll go over speed bumps. So I don't know. I see horse trailers with horses in them doing 40, 50 miles an hour down 5th Street, hitting the potholes. So I don't really buy that whole thing either. But yeah, just food for thought. So there's always an excuse. So.
Madam Mayor, I have no more speaker cards. I do want to apologize because I did not mention that I do have one written communication for this particular item that I put on the desk for you as well. And there are no online.
I was going to say, do we have anybody online?
No online speakers.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right, so Fred, would you like to come back up and address a few of the items that were brought up in our comments, please?
Yes, ma'am. As you know, to respond to any specific location, we need to have all the numbers ready to be able to respond. So we're going to do that in writing. But let me go over all, globally speaking, on all the issues that was raised. Everything that we've done on this project is the same as all other projects that we've done all over California. So we cannot change the data collection. We cannot change the procedure. We cannot come here earlier to collect the data at 5 in the morning. I understand that, at 5 in the morning, people don't see cars, commuters, they're gonna just ram through all your streets. Our hands are tied. There's nothing that we or anybody else could do, because if, as I mentioned to Mayor Pro Tem Bowen, all the data that we collected is a legal document. It shows the time that the radar gun was collecting the data. So if we would have come here at 5 in the morning to collect the data, then the same kind of story. If somebody would have objected the ticket that the person received in a court of law, 100% that ticket would be dismissed by the judge because they're going to say that, you know, why did you collect the data at 5 in the morning? The law specifically and explicitly, MUTCD federal and MUTCD California are the same. And even California, to be honest with you, is more stringent. It's more comprehensive than federal. So that's the way it is. None of the, I empathize with the residents, with their comments. We have to go back to the very same segment within the same zone. So if your home happens to be outside of that specific location that the radar gun operator is collecting the data, you can argue that, of course, oh, why didn't you collect it like 2,000 feet away? We couldn't do that because it's called a zone within that boundary. So it's subject to interpretation. And I've had a lot of cases, a lot of arguments all over. So that's why I'm very happy to be here because we've done it, I've heard it, and there is no solution for that unless, you know, fundamentally things get changed. Or somehow the law gets changed in California to collect the radar guns during off-peak hours. They have to change that. Without that, there is nothing that we can do, and we don't want to go back and forth, and you don't have any, you know, any options, honestly, left on that. So, and there were 2 specific locations that we're going to look into it, and we're going to respond based on looking at 85th percentile, you know, the pace, speed, and all the geometry of the location, the curvature, and all those. And then we are going to, based on the normal protocol, all the information, all the inputs have been received by us from you. So, and by all the residents, as you know, it's televised and it's a public record. We are going to look at each and every one of them. We are going to update our report, comprehensive report, based upon, again, the lenses of the law. Nothing else. And not political push, none of that, unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know how to say it. So, and then we're going to submit the revised report to you, back to you for the second and final reading. And then it's going to be your discretion as a majority to vote upon that. And again, I have strong feelings on the way I understand that. And honestly, I try to help as much as we possibly legally could. And then that's going to be the final report that the city, by the way, the city should move forward with the approval of that so that all those signs gets replaced. Because if the city does not do that, by the way, you're a contract city with Riverside County Sheriff Department, or you have your own police forces? Okay, then they cannot enforce it. I have a couple of cities, I cannot mention their names, that they put it on the back burner. They said, honestly, they said no. And I advised them, and their attorneys advised them, okay, leave it as is. But then if somebody would protest, you know, any of them, as you know, the ticket's going to be thrown out. And God forbid, in a legal challenge, then the city's going to be at fault because they're going to say that you don't have established, voted, you know, speed limits.
Can I ask
Yes,
one
ma'am.
clarifying question? So we've had some comments, you're not collecting like the true speeding or whatever. So let's say we have a lot of our traffic on 5th Street between 5 a.m. and 6:30 a.m. It's excessive speeds, right? And so you're
Right,
collecting
absolutely.
that data. Does that not increase your 85th percentile reading, which would then in turn increase our speed limits throughout the community, correct?
That's a very beautiful approach to
Right?
that. Exactly.
So I think that's something else for folks to consider.
Exactly. That's the drawback, because then we're going to look at 85% of those vehicles, and 85% going to have much higher speed than the posted speed limits have to be increased. Thank you for bringing it up. Yes.
I just wanted to make sure I was
Absolutely.
understanding
Yes,
correctly.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you. Are there any other questions from the consultant or for the consultant?
Now, educate me. With the new law that's coming in for school districts, are you familiar with it?
Yes.
Can you explain it?
Okay.
I knew you brought that, so
Yes. No, I go to other cities. I was in Rancho Mirage and a bunch of other cities, so it comes up a lot. There are 3 new laws. The first one is Assembly Bill 382, which is called, and it went into effect January 1st, 2026, that your city can take advantage of it as possible. The title of the law is Pedestrian Safety for School Zones. And local agencies can take advantage of that. For the city of Rancho Mirage, actually went to the city council. It was ratified just not long ago, and we're doing UKAIPA as we're speaking. Actually, it was today. So based on that law, within school zones, established school zones on your general plan from a zoning perspective, then it would provide the cities more leeways to reduce the existing posted speed limit further. Only it has to be within an area that the boundaries, the streets adjacent to the farthermost points of each school area have a posted speed limit. That posted speed limit could be reduced by 5 more. Only that area. I had challenges in other cities. They said, okay, what about 2 other streets? That doesn't include.
So if it's at 25 now, we could take it to 20.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And in some areas, we could go to 15.
That's what I got out of it, but I just want to hear
You could go to 15, yes, yes. Only for that school area.
Correct.
And it has to be right adjacent to the boundaries of the school property line, legal.
Correct.
That's number one. The second law is Assembly Bill 289, which is State Highway Work Zone Speed Safety. This is mostly for Caltrans, for the state of California. If you have, I presume that on your, if any freeways, I-15, I presume, is CHP is outside of your jurisdiction. So this, you cannot take advantage of it, let me say it like that. It's CHP and Caltrans, you are in District 8 of Caltrans, San Bernardino. So Caltrans has to make that determination under Assembly Bill 289. The next one is Assembly Bill 390 for vehicles, highway safety, local agencies, and Caltrans. Over the past couple of months that I've been acclimated with your city and your street network, there is nothing that you can use on that, on the new law, to be applicable to all the issues that I heard from you. And the last one is Assembly Bill 1014 that went to effect after Governor Newsom signed it back in November of last year. Traffic safety, speed limits for local agencies and Caltrans. What I can do is that because we've done all the researches in this area, I'll be more than happy to forward all the practical nuggets from all these laws to your Public Works Director so that before the next meeting of the City Council, you all would get a copy of that as an information. And then before the meeting is set for the second reading, then if you have any inputs there, then you can provide it to us, and I'll be more than happy to consult with the city engineer to see where and how we can help you for any of those street segments. So those are the new laws. And as I said, I don't want to take your time anymore. It has to be within all these boundaries, legal boundaries, that we can maneuver. So that's all we have. And you already know Assembly Bill 43 that was passed back in September 2021, is Vision Zero policy, which aims at eliminating traffic, deaths, that we've used it as much as we could, and we have referred in our traffic survey under the long sheets that you see for each segment, if it was applicable. So that's all I have.
All right, thank you very much. Do you have another question? Okay.
So I don't want to get back into the Assembly Bill 2402 and the section that we had in our report. But the mayor's comment about like on Fifth Street, if you were to take the speeds early in the morning from 6 to 7, that would increase that percentile.
Yeah,
Okay.
90% yes.
So conversely, if, when you're required to do it from between 9 and 3 p.m.
Yes.
Why couldn't you do traffic enforcement in that same area
At the same time?
at the same time?
It's illegal. It's called speed trapping. Texas had a case, went to the
Okay.
Supreme. It's illegal. You cannot, I can mention that. We did city of.
Well, I'm looking at a way how you can
we did
take the
city-
opposite to
we did
drive it
city of
back
Redondo
down.
Beach.
He
But-
gave you an idea during public comment.
Yeah, we,
All right.
I'm
Yeah.
happy that we're exploring all the things.
Okay.
So everything is clear. We did it for the city of Redondo Beach, and all the police officers, that day that we were doing the data collection, they asked me for the date. I did not provide them because legally I cannot. But then all the police officers were present all over the city. And what happened was, artificially, everybody slowed down when they were collecting the data because they were present when somebody sees
Right.
a police officer. So we had to resurvey the whole city. I had another one, city of Rancho Santa Margarita in Orange County, the first new city back in 1980 some. And the same story came up, and we had to redo the whole thing. So you cannot, you cannot. Unfortunately, we've done it, so I'm here to really help your city, your beautiful city in any shape or form, legally speaking. And we're exhausted from any other avenues, any other means legal that we could potentially reduce. And we've reduced them as much as we could based on the most current laws. So that's the best that you have.
Okay. So my last question is to staff is, why did this not go to the Streets and Trails Commission and to do all the prep work on this presentation and come back for a recommendation to council?
We were just going to bring it as a presentation item after the fact.
Why after the fact? Why can't these items be worked out at a commission level before it comes to council?
We only usually have like 2 or 3 people in the meeting. And this is a better forum for everybody.
I think you are off the hook, sir. Thank you for spending the time up here and answering all the questions.
My pleasure.
And so we're going to bring it to council for discussion, which I think we will obviously explore some of Councilmember Newton's. Do you have, okay, you were making me nervous. You were looking like I needed to have some city attorney input here.
Just make sure my microphone is still there, and it is. Thank
Okay, good. You're making me nervous. All right, so I think I'm going to start, I'm going to let you calm down. I'm going to start down here with Councilmember Bash. No, you're not.
I just want to make the recommendation that that the mayor get with the city manager, and as quickly as possible, we get in touch with Natasha. She's off for the entire month, so she has lots of free time. And we make the recommendation, try to get her at the next session to put something forward. And probably ought to get it in touch with Kelly Ciarto also too, because I'm assuming it's gonna have to go through both houses. And let them know that, we're not happy with this, and it's not safe with the horses, and that if we could do that, I think as soon as possible.
Kevin, do you mind if I add on to that just a little bit? Because as I was sitting here, I think about what I would consider the work of a commission to do. I feel like if the commission could look through these assembly bills that were mentioned, if the commission could really take a deep dive into the traffic survey and make recommendations that would then be carried forward to the assembly member and the senator through channels, I just feel like smaller committees doing that work
I'm
works
good
better.
with that.
It is there's a time frame right, but I just feel like I would think the commissioners would think that that's valuable, important work that, when done meaningfully, would result in legislation that makes our community safer. Instead of, looking at a report and I get it. It would have been appropriate for this report to go to Stuck. But how many times have we heard, well, it's a legal document, we can't make, we can make changes, but we can't. And so to let it go to Stuck, let them get frustrated and upset and aggravated, just like a lot of us are up here, to then have to say, well, here, we don't like the report, but here, council, here's the report. I don't find that meaningful work. I would much rather see them work on recommendations and legislation. We had, during public comment, Matt brought up, enforcement. If we have, and this would be something that I personally would like to see Stuck look at, if we've got these segments that are constantly a problem, or we've seen them raised, then Stuck can investigate those, give us a list, and that becomes a priority list for RSO to do regular enforcement so that the speeds automatically go down. So it doesn't matter when the survey's done, because our speeds are automatically going to be lowered because they know there is regular and consistent enforcement on those problem sections in town. And that's the kind of stuff that I would like to see that commission bring forward. Where are our problem spots? Where do we need to give the list to the sergeant? What pieces or nuggets of information can they do for legislation? And get that work completed. I mean, as much as I would love to dive into it, I don't think realistically that those of us up here have the time to commit to do the work that needs to be done. And that's, again, what I see our commissioners for.
So are you suggesting that, because I like that idea, but we have 3 weeks while they're off session. Are you suggesting we wait for them to come back before we contact the state assembly and state legislatures? Because I think a phone call, at least, to let them know it's coming.
Yeah, I absolutely think that, I can call the assembly member's office or the assemblywoman. I can call the senator's office and say, hey, our Stuck is going to be working on this.
I like that.
We want you to be ready to carry some legislation for us. And what does that timeline look like in your office? So they kind of have a placeholder for us so that when Stuck gets their work done, we can go right in with that.
Can we give Stuck a time limit, 30 days, 60 days? I mean, they said they want to work.
Yeah.
Because sooner than later. But I like that idea.
Well, and again, I see it as two pieces, Sam, the legislation would take priority, but I do want them to dig into the reports. And even going so far as the sheets are in the back, in the appendices, the radar was out from this time to this time, and all of it's there. I want them to dig into that and give us a list of I don't know how many streets, 20 segments out of the 78 that we want to see a reduction in speed. We were given several of them this evening, right? Which a lot of us know without looking at a traffic survey that need regular enforcement to lower those speeds so that when we do collect, our 85th percentile is dropped, and then we can drop it more based on the legislation that we hopefully get through. So those would be the two things that I think they need to work on.
I agree with that.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem, comments or discussion?
No, I'm good.
Councilmember Sullivan? Councilmember Newton?
Looking forward to your motion.
Well, so we're just having a discussion today. There's no action today, correct? But it's a first reading, right? So then I guess I need clarification. So they are going to go back and do some more work. So what does that look like when there's going to be changes and we're going to have a second reading? Is it just that we're approving the amended document at the second reading? Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
We can have substantive changes between the first read and the second read,
Okay,
as long as what they're doing complies with what you approve in your first read. So if what you're telling them is to go out and do some more studying and come back with a fix to these things that we're looking at, and that comes back, then that's fine. That still complies with the first read.
okay.
I do have one other question. Does this mean that with the new law, we can actually lower the speed limit along Temescal in front of the 3 schools to 15 miles an hour? Did I understand that? And I'll wait for Robin's input because she goes there every day, but can we lower?
Possibly, yes.
Because I would definitely vote for that.
Possibly, yes.
And how about Highland?
But I
and-
cannot guarantee because it's based on the numbers and based on what I defined, how the law stipulates.
Can you look at that for us?
Sure.
And I have one question that goes along with that. So like Highland and Sierra Vista are adjacent to 2 streets.
Right.
So their boundaries are on 2 streets, so there would be potential for reductions on both streets, is that
Yes,
correct?
that's what we did for Yucaipa and Rancho
Okay.
Mirage. We did the comprehensive citywide studies for them, and then because of the new law, then they asked us to go back and revisit those. So that's what we did. And by the way, let me clarify one thing. The report or the item before you for your action as the first reading is based upon citywide engineering and traffic survey. These are all legals that I'm talking about. It's citywide based on engineering and traffic survey is always established based on numbers and data, meaning we need to have a radar gun survey in conjunction with ADT. With regard to the school zones that we were talking for the first time, those special areas, it does not require new ADTs nor new radar guns. And I can sign and seal those reports as well as I did for those 2 cities. They wanted to take advantage of the new law. So only for the school zones, those that I'm gonna get the complete list of them, we can revisit those and we can supplement that to this report.
And is it only during school hours, or is it all the time?
Question.
And then also for private schools. In other words, the Norconian is right at the border of a private school.
We included, for other cities, we included private schools.
So Norconian, you could actually revisit Norconian because it's right by a school.
Yes, but then to go back to your first question, sir, it's only when children are present.
Well, let's look at that. And we'll put dummy kids up there.
I'd like to also add to that. We had Sam and I had discussions with the Sheriff's Department when the initial draft of the speed survey came out. And we did talk about that new provision of reducing during, and I believe it, I'm 99% sure it's during, when children are present. So it's only during school hours to reduce it to 20 or potentially 15. Sheriff's Department, they actually had some concerns with that because virtually they can write a ticket for everybody because it's very difficult to go 15 miles per hour. So that's something my only point is I'd like to have another discussion with the Sheriff's Department as part of that review and get their input on their viability with and their opinion on reducing to 20 or to 15.
All right, thank you. I guess just another comment that I'll make for my colleagues in general. You guys all know probably one of the top complaints we get as council members is speed. And like I like to use this document. I've been having to use the 2021, but I do like to use this document to cite data when we're speaking with residents about what's going on in their neighborhood or the segments of their street as well. So, you know, when this is complete, I found it a tool that can be used as well when we're speaking with residents. So-
Because it's, number one, it's a legal tool. Number two is within the public record. You know, anybody can access that. It's not something that they don't have access to. So just one final comment, not to prolong the discussion, and that would be in reference to if you would like us to look at those specific school zones, then my suggestion is that the second reading to be maybe within 4 weeks or so from now, so that we want to do a great job for you, not something quick and dirty, just to make sure that within the legal boundaries of all those educational institutions, then we have, you know, it's a bulletproof document, because it's going to be a supplement to this report that is going to come back to you for your vote, and it's going to be a legal, you know, document for the city and for the law enforcement to use.
Thank you. So bringing it back for council action at this time. I'm going to make a motion to recommend ordinance number 1143.
You're going to stick your neck out, I'll second that.
I want our sheriffs to be able to write tickets.
I get it, no, I get it.
Can I read the title?
Yes, please.
Ordinance number 1143, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Norco establishing prima facie speed limits on certain streets in the City of Norco and amending Chapter 1012.010 through 1012.030 of the Norco Municipal Code.
Thank you, Madam Clerk, for the vote.
Please vote.
Go back to.
I can take an roll vote. I can take an roll vote.
Is there any way to like resend it or no to her?
Let me see. Please vote.
Thank you. Hers is still not showing up.
We can take an roll vote. Councilmember Newton? Her machine's not working. I'm sorry. Councilmember Sullivan? Councilmember Bash?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bowen? Mayor Grummeyer?
Yes.
The voting reflects mayor and council voting yes, with council members Newton and Sullivan voting no.
All right, thank you. It's been good discussion, so I need a clarifier now. For the comments that were made about sending the items to Stuck, does that need to be made a motion? Because it would be separate from the ordinance, just to clarify direction to staff.
I think that staff has received the direction.
Okay, so no motion or
If you want to make a
anything?
motion, you can. If it's going to be completely separate from the track that the council is taking right now with the ordinance,
I feel like it kind of is separate from the traffic
go ahead and
study.
we can have a motion.
Okay, so I'm going to make a motion that we have the Stuck Committee research forming legislation for a special cutout for Norco as far as our speed limits, and that they make a list of the top 20 problem segments in Norco based on this current traffic study.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Okay, so we'll go ahead and call for the vote, please.
Councilmember Bash?
Yes.
Councilmember Newton?
Yes.
Councilmember Sullivan?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bowen? Mayor Grummeyer?
Yes. All right. Thank you for
That is
indulging
approved.
me. Thank you, Sam. So we're going to go on to our second public hearing for this evening, which is the adoption of our annual weed abatement. Yes.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, Steve Payne, Fire Marshal for the city. Do we have the presentation? Thank you. I'm here to present our annual report of costs for our weed abatement program. Next slide, please. Thank you. So quick background on this item. Norco Municipal Code requires that property owners of vacant lots clear their weeds and grass and vegetation that could contribute to a fire hazard. The fire department conducts inspections twice a year on vacant lots in the spring and the fall to ensure compliance with the municipal code. Notices were sent to property owners in August of 2025 and March of 2026. This was approximately 30 days before our fall and spring inspection period. 10 lots failed to comply within those time frames, requiring that the city abate those lots through the city's abatement contractor. These properties were then assessed fees in accordance with the city's fee schedule. Property owners were invoiced, and 7 failed to pay those fees within the deadline. And so therefore, the item before you is the report of our costs and a resolution to impose special assessment liens on the non-compliant properties through the Riverside County Auditor Controller's Office. Here is a table of those properties that I mentioned that were non-compliant, showing the property parcel number, whether it was non-compliant in the spring or the fall, or in one case, both, the fees that were charged to that property owner, and the outstanding balances. So in summary, staff's recommendation is that the council adopt the resolution confirming the report of costs for the weed abatement of weeds and hazardous vegetation as a public nuisance, and impose special assessment liens on vacant parcels within the city. And I'm available for any questions. That concludes my presentation.
All right, thank you for the presentation. Councilmember Bash, any questions?
Yeah, I just have,
Okay.
so, this is a can of worms, you ready?
Okay.
So, there's lots of weeds on the Navy base. Do you guys assess that?
I believe it is a federal property and exempt from our local ordinance.
Okay, just curious.
Mayor Pro Tem, questions? Councilmember Sullivan? Councilmember Newton?
More of a comment. Finally, glad to meet you.
Nice to meet you, sir.
And, no, good report. To me, it's the same old suspects that just use us for landscaping services. So,
Indeed. Thank you.
thank you.
All right, you are off the hook.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So even though we had comments, we're going to go to public comments now. Do we have any cards?
Madam Mayor, I have no in-person or online cards.
Perfect, thank you. So we're going to bring it back to council for discussion. Is there any further discussion from council?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. So motion and a second. We'll go ahead and call for the vote.
We'll have to take an oral vote because our machine's not her. Councilmember Bash?
Yes.
Councilmember Newton?
Yes.
Councilmember Sullivan?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bowen? Yes. Mayor Grummeyer?
Yes.
Unanimous vote is
Okay,
approved.
thank you. So we're going to go ahead and go on to item number 7, and then just a reminder to my colleagues up here and to the audience that as soon as we're done with this item number 7, we will be going back to closed session. So with that, city staff over here, any comments? Amanda?
This next Saturday, July 25th, we're going to have the Day of the Cowboy Rodeo. So gates are going to open at 5 o'clock. Rodeo will start at 7:30, and we're excited to see everyone there. Thank you.
Thank you. Public safety in the back, anything? Okay, very good. Colby, anything? City attorney? City manager? Councilmember Newton. Councilmember Sullivan.
Kind of lost track of what day it is, but I just wanted to thank staff so much for all of the fantastic things that have been happening in town, and to all of the volunteers that have made everything so fantastic. I just love our town, and thank you so much.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Sam, if I'm getting a lot of questions of what streets that we're going to be approving on and the dates that we're going to get them done, can you get me a list of, so I can talk to people intelligently? Of the streets we're going to be doing improvements on?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just next week or whenever. It's just something simple. And then the next thing is the NART team. If you can touch bases on that so we can know where we're heading with that. I
Yeah.
gave it a lot of leeway, not because of everything going on.
We are looking at potentially meeting the last week of July. An email will be sent out tomorrow on that. I've talked to
Awesome.
Superintendent Davis and Supervisor Nonemacher, and so we are looking at a date. I believe it's July 29th, but we will send that out to the group.
And I'd like to thank everybody for our new animal control is phenomenal. Thank you, guys. And July 3rd was, you guys outdid yourself. Really appreciate that. It was fun. And I got something that we should see somehow of working it in. And we have the dunking tank. Awesome. But we should also have a pie throwing contest. And I think we should designate, the city council should take one person.
I'll do it. I'll
do it.
I was gonna say, I'll get way more money.
And then the third thing,
I got a lot of high school kids that would pay.
we could have a kissing booth. Maybe not, maybe not. Unless Greg wants to jump on board with that. No, but thank you guys very much. And you guys did an awesome job. Thank you.
All right, and I don't have anything to follow that up, so we're
I have
gonna.
a question.
Yes.
Is the interactive map still current? The map
The
for streets
CIP.
and, yeah, is that current still?
I'll double check. I think it might need a tune-up.
Yeah, that's what I usually do, is I send that to people.
Councilmember Bash, anything else? That's it. All right, we are gonna go to closed session, and we will adjourn when we come out, so if y'all wanna hang out and see us come out and tap the gavel, you're welcome to hang out and stay. Otherwise, thank you for attending. Yes. Yeah, so 5-minute break for council before we go to closed session for personal needs.